I met Tommy right after I got stationed in Montana in the Air Force. I was a young kid, wanted to be a fireman. I found the volunteer fire department off the base there. I joined. I met him right then and there, and he really looked after me and the other guy that joined right at the same time. He was a great guy. We even we even called him Uncle Tommy before I even married his niece. So he's been Uncle Tommy for a long time. He taught me a lot. Taught everybody on that fire department a lot. We'd always joke about how he was going to be the chief when I was there, but he never wanted it. Turned it down every chance it came up. Till I left, and then I found out he became the chief. He really did a lot for a lot of people. He's a great guy. It's really going to be missed. I think the biggest reason he turned it down all the time is I don't think he saw himself as the chief. I think he thought he could do more as a guy in the trenches and going into, buildings and fighting the fires, the wildfires and everything, than the guy that has to take a step back and run the show. But no matter what he did it good. He was a great guy. He loved his family. He didn't have any kids of his own, but my God, if he didn't treat all of his nieces and nephews like his kids. My wife would tell me stories about him out hunting, fishing, doing everything you do in the Montana country. And he loved it. He loved every minute of it. He loved elk hunting. He loved fishing. He'd show up all the time with stuff for the nieces and nephews that he had. Like it says, he loved them the way somebody would love their own kids. No, he didn't introduce me to my wife. I met her through another friend, and one of the guys on our fire department lived 2 doors down from my sister-in-law. And I went over his house to one day, and he wasn't home. He was down sitting on her front porch. So I just went up on the front porch, and that was the time that I met my wife. And it's actually funny, when Tommy found out that me and Tanya were dating, he was over at my father-in-law's house. My wife was making a pot of chili. She was just stirring the pot of chili. And Tommy asked my mother-in-law, "Hey, what's up with this Brian guy that Tanya's dating?" My wife just kept her head down, chuckled a little bit as she's stirring that pot of chili. She didn't know what to say. But he was really cool about it when he found out. He like I said, we called him Uncle Tom even before he was my uncle. Tom was involved in everything in that community. There was a City of Great Falls, Malmstrom Air Force Base, the Air National Guard Base in Great Falls, and then probably 13 different volunteer fire departments out in the county. Air Force duties. We never had a mutual aid agreement with the City of Great Falls Fire Department. He brought that about. I remember going out there for his funeral, and there was a line of fire trucks probably 1.5 miles long, because that's how well respected and loved he was. And I'll never forget that. I've seen firefighter funerals before, but just the amount of people that showed up to say goodbye to him really showed how much he was respected and loved in that community. He did a lot for a lot of people. And I know a lot of people are gonna miss him, and they still miss him. I remember one time we were working on our water tender there. We were trying to rebuild a new water tanker. And there's myself, Tommy, and the assistant chief at the time. And I had a bolt or something that we had to put some lubricant on. And I had the bottle of the anti-seize or whatever it was. Dave said to me, Dave, our assistant chief, said to me, "Just a little dab will do you." To which Tommy immediately turned to him and said, "Don't tell him that, he's dating my niece." That's the kind of guy he was. He could make a joke out of everything. Now, did my relationship with them change? Probably not, other than, you know, we were always pretty close, you know, from the time I joined that fire department. I mean, the first fire I actually ever put an air pack on and going in was with him and, you know, my brother-in-law now. And the relationship just kind of kept right on going. He loved me like I was one of their own. You know, like I'd been part of the family the whole time. And the feeling was mutual. I think the one thing that I would like people to remember about Tommy is how much he loved his family and how much he loved the fire service. You know, he really took a department that had somewhat pieced together equipment, and he did a lot to move that department into the future. He got a lot of new equipment. He started the department on a track that I think the sky's the limit now from what I've seen. Unfortunately, my travels, I haven't been back there much, but I know what I've seen. He really left a lasting legacy on that community. I know last year, a couple of years ago, Tommy started a 4th of July parade in the town of Black Eagle. And he encouraged everybody in the town to decorate their houses in red, white, and blue. And, you know, they gave out they had a prize that they gave out for the best decorated house. And I think just that legacy of his service and stuff like that's what I hope people will remember about him. And that's what I hope, you know, people when they think about Tommy, that's what I hope they think about. Not so much that he's not with us anymore, but that he's always with us and gonna always be with us.